And here we are outside the Coricancha. This is the great curved wall, and we're on the inside of the great curved wall. And this is just such, you know, I'll just keep my mouth shut and keep the camera rolling here so you can have a look at just the sheer beauty of the construction.
Esto es lo que te decía, hay un momento del día cuando el
when
sol
the
está
sun
encima.
comes like that,
Uh-huh.
the sun just only gives the shine just only in these parts, and all of these parts is very dark.
Uh-huh.
These parts, all of these parts are dark, and this part is by the sun.
Oh, these-
illuminated by the sun. Just only these parts.
Oh, they shine.
Yes.
It's a sequence.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah. Notice the sequence of protrusions that Jesus and Nilo have just pointed out. They aren't random. There's an obvious pattern to this wall because when the sun would rise, it would strike this wall because this would not have been here. But one more time, I want to show you the series of nodules that stick out.
Y esos de encima no son redondos, no rolls.
So again, this is on the curved inside of the great wall at the Coricancha, and you see the protrusions. They aren't all just circles, as Jesus has pointed out. Some of them are rectangles, some of them are circles, some of them are oval, some are square, but there's a whole series of them, as Jesus says, as if it's some kind of code, and when the sun would rise, it would strike these points and create some kind of pattern. But we'll never know what that is because this massive Church of Santo Domingo is now blocking the path of the sun. So this series of protrusions obviously are symbolic and are not in isolation. Together, they have to say something, whether it's a code or whether it's a mathematical language. But the sun would strike them as it rose in the morning and create some kind of pattern. And there's a reason, obviously, why the builders created this wall specifically as a giant curve, because much of the rest of the Coricancha is quite linear. This is later Spanish work. So you see this pattern of nodes here and holes. They're obviously not in a random order. It must be some kind of code or mathematical language or star map or something. There has to be a reason why all of these protrusions are in this one area on the backside of the Temple of the Moon and are not found on the rest of this wall. So this is the Temple of the Moon inside the Coricancha, and again, here's the technical perfection. And people say, well, this joinery is superficial, but as we go around the corner where there has been damaged, you see it's still perfect. It's still perfect here. And it's still perfect. And still perfect. And then this mysterious so-called doorway that has these holes drilled into this hard andesite stone and these odd channels. The conventional explanation is that this is where a curtain was placed because it was a sacred space. But who's going to be drilling holes into this super hard stone simply to hold up a curtain, no matter how ceremonial it is? And again, this is interesting because you can see the work of the Inca. You can see where the little white areas are. This is where they did a repair inside the Temple of the Moon. They were obviously great caretakers of the parent culture that came before, as anyone would be, take care of that which the ancestors had built. But again, all of these mysterious holes and channels that are carved into this door, which isn't a door because when it was intact, nobody could have climbed through it. And you can see where it's been broken. This is above the Templo de la Luna, the Temple of the Moon, and Jesus has just pointed out these very interesting channels and grooves that were carved into the top surface of this original structure. Are they solar markers, or he doesn't know, and I certainly do not know. And here you see these little circular and rectangular protrusions, lots of them, and grooves. Again here on top of the Temple of the Moon inside the Coricancha. They could be sun markers of some kind. I want to go back over them one more time. This is the original top, probably, of the Temple of the Moon here inside the Coricancha. And then I pull back so that you can see what the whole structure and enclosure looks like. Again, here you see these groove lines and then it changes from grooves to these amazing circles. Here in more detail, the top of the Temple of the Moon in the Coricancha. You see this series of rectangles and lines to the left, which changes to circles. And then from circles, it stops, and then there's one line that goes all the way down with all these perpendicular cut marks into them, all the way along. And then at this corner, you can't really see from this perspective, but then there are 45-degree angle cuts in, and then the cuts continue along and disappear on that wall. Sunrise is about here. And also the Pleiades at certain times of the year would rise here as well. And the Pleiades would be seen through this narrow hallway. And again, this intriguing series of rectangles of different shapes and sizes becoming circles. And then the circles becoming these cut marks. going all the way along through there. This is the original top. All of this above is Spanish addition.